Cyril?
Yeah? Sorry guys, I wanted to do a very good introduction. Hi everyone! So first I want to thank you for buying this project. It's a 2 years old project. I've worked on it so much and I'm very happy to give you and to share with you this project that is my heart and that is everything that I love in rubber band magic, visual magic and interaction with people. I think it's the first project that is so interactive. I mean, you can do all the effects on your own hand or in spectators' hands and give them the band as a souvenir. And as you can know, I mean, when the magic happens in spectators' hands, it's 100 times better than when it just happened in your hand. So that's the first step. Also, as you can see, we are in an impromptu studio. So it's the studio of my best friend, Raphael Klein. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to film everything in this studio. We've tried to do our best on the tutorial to take time to explain step by step the different parts of all the effects. And I think we just succeed to be a good teacher, I guess, I hope. We just filmed the tutorial just before, so my hands are broken now because of the bands. A lot of bands broke on my hand, it's painful, but it worth it. Before beginning the tutorial, if you love this work, my work, I have another project named Psycho Band on Sky Member Presents. You can find it on Murphy's Magic and a lot of different shops. And another project that is named Space Bender, a band that just go through a build, very visual trick, and a lot of effect that I create and that I will push probably on some markets the following years, so we'll see. It's not an ad, but for most of my trick I use this band, Jorin Fleisch Rainbow Band. I don't win any cent for what I say now, so it's just because it's useful for you and not for me, because I pay them, it's very expensive for me too, but that's it. But they are very nice because they are non-latex bands, so for people who have allergy it's great. They are very bright, colorful. You can see it's great for long distance rubber magic, and they are very stretchable and slidey. It slides a lot and it's perfect for a lot of my tricks. It's size 19. So if you want the bands I use in my trailer and tutorial and everyday life, it's this one, if you want to know. Okay, very stretchable. But you can buy, I guess, a lot of different bands, but the only stuff that is important is that they have to be stretchable a lot. So don't buy thin bands, it's gonna break and it's gonna be very painful for your hands. So that's it. Just last advice, it's a step-by-step project. So if I put the first effect in the first part of this project, it's not by chance. It's because it's important to learn this first effect before the other ones. Because you will see that among the 7 effects, some of the effects are based on some of the setups of the effect that I've taught before. So don't try to learn effects that are at the end of the project. If you haven't learned the one before, you're gonna lose time for it. So I've tried to put a lot of tips to put this project a bit forward, to make these tricks more impromptu. All these tricks can be performed in real life, I do it all the time. So some of them will need a lot of training, it's gonna be a little painful, it's gonna take a lot of time, effort, but you will see that it's worth it at the end of the day. So just train yourself to do the setup quickly, without looking at them, just instinctively. And the more you will train to do it, and the more your body will just keep this information inside of your brain, and the more it's gonna be automatized. You're gonna be able to speak to people, to misdirect people while doing the setup without thinking about it. And it's very, very important. So before saying, oh, it's too complicated, just take time to try to do it, because I promise you that I do it all the time. Like every time I do magic, I do rubber band magic and I do my effects, and people appreciate them a lot. So I guess that it's because I'm very trained to do them quickly, but you will be able to do it if you train it yourself to do them. So let's stop speaking. I think you want to learn some stuff, guys. So here you go. Here is the tutorial part of this project.
So here is the explanation of the rubber hand illusion. So we named it the rubber hand illusion because when the band penetrates the hand, it gives the illusion that your hand is made of rubber or made of butter or made of liquid or something like that. So for this trick, the explanation is quite simple, but you will have to learn two phases. So here is the first phase of this trick. It's very, very simple. So here is the first phase. So first, you put your band around the wrist, like that, okay? Then what you have to do is this. So to do this, what you do is you put your own hand here, like that, in this position, okay? So not like that, but really like that. So you take the band, you put it around all the fingers of this hand, like that, okay? Then you just turn the band to be in the same position, but under your hand. So like that, and you go like that, okay? So you are in this position. Quite simple, right? When you are in this position, what you have to do is to pivot your hand like that. Okay, not in the opposite side, because it will never work, but like that. So once more, you begin like that, behind your hand, here, and then you just twist the band like that, not more. And as you can see, you have a loop here, okay? So what you have to do is to put your hand, this one, inside of the loop. So once more, you are here, like that, just twist your hand like that, and put your hand inside of the loop, like that. So if you do it well, you are in this position from behind your hand. As you can see, this thread here, so the one that is just between your index finger and thumb finger, is over the second thread, okay? It's over it. If it's not the case, you are not in the good position. So that's the first phase. You begin like that and you say, oh, I'm gonna show you a trick with a band. So it's very quick, as you can see. It's very natural. So you are here, from behind the hand, twist it, and put it around your hand. So it could look not natural, but in fact, if you do it very quickly and naturally, it just looks as if you took a band and put it just on your hand like that. Okay, so you're in this position. Never flash this part, so when you do the setup, never turn your hand in this weird way or I don't know why. Keep your hand always in this position, and it's this hand that moves, not this one, okay? This one never turn like that. So you are here, and like that. So once more, like that, okay? Boom, twist, and put it around the hand like that. So you're in this position. So when you do it, you are free to talk. You are free to take a drink. You are free to do what you want to do, okay? And during this time here, you can have a break to talk, and you did half of the setup in front of spectator eyes, and it's very natural. Here, you just achieved half of the setup. So now, for the second half of the setup, after a psychological break, so you took maybe 10 seconds talking like, oh, I'm gonna show a trick with a pen, etc. Here is what you have to do. You take your hand and you place it like that, as if you just wanted to shake your own hand, okay? So you are like that. You take with your 4 fingers here all the band and you stretch it a lot, okay? You stretch it a lot. Then, with your thumb, you're gonna pinch this thread here. Pinch it very hard, okay? You pinch it and you keep the pressure on it. So you pinch it hard, and then what you have to do is just to put the band off of your hand like that and go here. So pinch it, put it off, so you can see off of the fingers. You go back here, so in the direction of this pinky one, here, not in this side because it will never work, but off in the direction of the pinky, so you are in this position here, And now, all you have to do is to twist your hand in the only way you can twist. You can't twist it like that because you're gonna break your wrist. So you just have to twist it like that. Okay? And now you are in this position. You have a kind of X. You see this kind of X shape? And you can see the central point of the X here. Okay, the central dot of the X. What you have to do is to put this central dot here, just in the junction of your pinky here. So not here, but very here, okay? For any reason, it's gonna be easier for the rest of the trick. So once more, you are here, stretch it, pinch it with the thumb, go off of your fingers, on the direction of the pinky, so not here, but here, twist it, put the central dot of the X in the junction of the pinky, and then all you have to do is to close your 4 fingers here on the loop here, inside of the loop, okay, to take this bend. Okay, so you are in this position. As you can see, when I close these fingers, I don't close my fingers like that. I close them like that. So not like that, but like that. It's important because, as you can see, when I close it like that, the band just lay on the fingers. If I close it like that, it will be almost impossible to block the band because it's gonna slide on my fingers. If you block it like that, it's very nice because it blocks on your fingers. So here, boom, pinch, off of the finger, the X on the junction of the pinky, close your fingers like that, not like that, but like that, and you are in this position. So in front of the person, you can't see this part here. You are like that, okay? And now, all you have to do is to ask someone to put his or her hand inside of the loop from the front, like that, okay? So you say, can you put your hand inside of it? They put their hand here. And now that you're in this position, all you have to do is to open your fingers, the 4 fingers here. Look, for any reason, it just stay on participant hand, on spectator's hands. So you're like that, open your fingers, and from this position, if you release your thumb, okay, if you just release the thumb, look what happened. The band seems to penetrate. So first, this. Then, blah, 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 blah. And after it, you say, oh, I'm gonna show you a trick with one band. Can I have your hand, please? So you do the setup, this one. In the same time, you just put your hand forward, as if you just say, okay, I'm gonna show you something. So with this move, it covers this forward move, cover this little twist. It's very natural. So you say, oh, I'm gonna show you a trick. It looks like you just close your finger on the band, while in fact you did this setup. And when you're in this position, imagine this is my hand, okay? It can be your hand. So in this case, it's my hand. I can pivot my hand like that. So to show the both sides of the band, I just have to imagine that this central dot here of the X, just there, is a pivot point. So if I use this dot as a pivot point, so I keep the contact and I use it as a pivot point, I can move my hand in every side. It will look like I can see the band from both sides. So you can do a back and front kind of effect. You can do this. So never stretch it like that because you're gonna see the setup. Just have to do this, this, and this. So you can use a phone also. Okay, someone's phone, but imagine it's someone's hand. If it's the case, a phone or someone's hand, you can guide their hand. You just ask them, oh, turn your hand, so you guide them to keep the contact, and you put it back. It looks like you show the band both sides. Then you just have to open your thumb and it penetrates. So what is important here also is when you put someone's hand into your hand, like that, or even with the thumb, be sure that their fingers are not over the band here. Because if their fingers are over your band here, look what happened. It will block. It will never work, okay? So avoid this problem. Be sure that their fingers are not over the band, this part here, but here, it's perfect here, okay? So release the thumb and there is a penetration. And what is great with this trick is that you have a double trick inside of the same setup. So you can do the penetration effect if the hand is here. But you can also do a transfer effect if you put the hand not here, okay, but here or here. As you can see, if I slide the hand here, if I release, the band pop back. So you can do it like that, okay? Or you can even do it like that. If you just turn the hand like that, I release, it works also. Both work, so it's very great. And two last advices for this is that when you do the trick like that, okay, as you can see, if you look at the band around my wrist, look, this band here gonna disappear because this band pop back here. So to avoid this problem, here is the solution. Before the trick, you put 1, 2 or 3 bands of the same color around your wrist. You can even double them. You can see it's a band that is doubled. I just twist it and put it back here. And because it's a band among other bands, when it will pop, you will not see that it pops. So look at my wrist here. Look carefully just here. As you can see, you can't see that it jumped from here because there is so many bands here that if one disappears, you can't see it, okay? And the last advice, if you do the trick with a cell phone, okay, when you are here, put the cell phone here. What you can do is that if you take the phone here, so if I put the X, you know the central point of the X that is just here. If I put this central point between my index and middle finger, like that, okay, I exaggerate, but if I close my finger like that, I can show the cell phone both sides like that. I can even stretch my hand to show it both sides, and when I open my thumb, it penetrates. So that's very great because you can play with the perspectives. If you have the good angle, for example, a vertical angle, you can even do this if it's your own hand. If it's someone's hand, don't do it because they're gonna feel it. But if it's your own hand or a cell phone, you can do this. You can stretch it a lot like that. So here's a bad angle. Here is a, maybe, I guess it's a good angle for the camera, like that. And if you are a player, you can even play with these angles like that. Okay, it's very hard to do, but you can try to have the good point. Keep in your mind the pivot point, and you can show your hand both sides. I don't know if I have the good angle with the camera, but you know what I mean. And boom. And the last advice when you do the trick, when you're here, be sure that their hand is not too much here. Because if it's too much here, as you can see on my pinky, you can see the part of the band here that we don't want to see. So be sure that their hand is more here to cover this little part here of the setup. You know, like that it don't work very well. So be sure that your hand is here and release the thumb. And to finish, I like to put my hand like that. For any reason, psychologically, I think it's better. So that's the explanation of the rubber hand illusion. So here is a tutorial of the quantum paradox. So, for this trick, you have to learn first the tutorial of the rubber hand illusion, because this setup, the setup of the quantum paradox, is based on the rubber hand illusion setup. Okay? So as it was the case for the rubber hand illusion, it's better to begin with bands around your wrist, because if you don't do it, you will see that a band will pop from here to your hand or spectator's hand during the illusion. So beforehand, put some bands here of the same color as the one you use. For the tutorial, I will just use one band, so it'll be more understandable for you. So first, as I said, you have to learn the rubber hand illusion setup, so this one. So I will not teach it twice, just go back if you haven't learned it yet. So you remember, in the rubber hand illusion setup, you are in this position here, okay? For this illusion, it's exactly the same setup with one very huge difference, and here is this huge difference. Instead, when you are in this part, in the rubber hand illusion setup, instead of stretching it a little bit like that and doing this, you have to stretch it a lot. Yes, stretch it with a r, like that. So you stretch it a lot, you pinch it with your thumb, so it's absolutely similar. You go out, so it's exactly the same stuff. You twist it, it's exactly the same idea, but instead of taking the bend here, you will continue the setup. So you are in this position, instead of doing this, as it's the case in the rubber hand illusion, you will have to continue the setup like that. So you are in this position here, okay, here. You put the central dot of the X here, as it's the case in the rubber hand illusion, and then look what you do. You are like that. You're gonna put your thumb, this one, inside of the loop, okay, like that, to stretch the band as a square. You see the square here? It's kind of square, but it's not very important. So you are here, here, put your thumb inside of it, and then look what you have to do. You have two bends, you have two threads, one thread here and one thread here. The top thread will come here, and the bottom one, the one in my pinky here, will come here, around your wrist. Okay, so in fact, here is what happened. So once more, you are here, like that. Put your thumb inside of it, so you can stretch the band a lot, like that. You can stretch it with all your fingers, as a mouse, you can see, miam miam. And look what you have to do now. You just have to turn the band, one thread on the bottom one here, very aligned, and one thread here. So exactly like that. Okay, I can do better with the camera, but it's just like that. And then, all you have to do with this little piece here is to squeeze it on the top of your thumb here. Like so, from behind the thumb. So you have to go around the thumb, okay, and you pinch it here. And when you release the first part of your thumb, look what happened. The first part of the band jumps, and when you are here, you are in the exact position of the rubber hand illusion. And when you release the thumb, it pops back. So once more, you are here, like that, but don't do this, okay? You are here, put your thumb inside of it, open the mouth, and you go around the wrist, so one thread here, one thread here. All around the thumb, and you pinch the top part here with your thumb. I know it looks hard, but it's not so hard. Just try to align everything. Put your index finger to train first. Release the first part of the thumb, not both parts, only first part. And when you release the second part, it pops back. So for this trick, my first advice is when you are in this position, pinch it on the bottom of your thumb here. Because if you pinch it here, you will have no open doors to pinch the second part here. It's gonna be very hard. So it's easier to release one part of the thumb and the second part than releasing first part of the thumb, second part, like that, okay? So first thread here on the bottom of the thumb, So you have a lot of doors to close independently the second part of your thumb. So here, stretch it a lot, squeeze it, go out, twist, as is the case in the rubber hand illusion, put your thumb inside of it, okay? Open the mouth. So as you can see, I just discovered it now, but I invert my fingers. So my thumb is in the bottom, in the direction of this, and these fingers are here. Open the mouth, go around, align everything, and pitch the second part here. And if you've done it well, it should jump. Oops. Because I don't realize it enough, and jump back. So my big advice for it is to train yourself to do it first with something very small, like one finger. Okay? Put one finger here. And when you are ready to go with one finger, just try to do it with two fingers. Okay? So you have to put the fingers in contact of your palm here, not too much here because it will not work, look. Okay? Because it's gonna block. So first you do it with one finger, then you do it with two fingers. You can even show them both sides because it's the rubber hand illusion. And then you try to do it with more and more fingers, okay? And at the end of the day, sorry, my hands are very sweaty. At the end of the day, you should be able to do it with one hand, like that. If you struggle to do it with a hand because it's very big, just try to do it with something more flat, like for example, a credit card, an ID card, or a small, maybe two playing cards, but you have to have something a little bit rigid, not something too soft, okay? So for example, credit card is perfect for this trick. If you don't struggle with a hand, it's perfect for you, but if you struggle, you can do it with something thinner, okay? If you have a spectator in front of you, a bunch of spectators, just choose a spectator that has the smallest hand. For example, a woman, a kid. Don't do it to a spectator that has kind of bare hands, not beer, bare hands. Maybe beer or bare hands is the same, I don't know. But bare hands, okay? Like, you know, a bear or something like that. If you struggle to do it with big hands, you can do it with a little twist in my setup. Here is a twist. Instead of pinching it on your thumb here, if you are a crazy guy, you can pinch it between your index and a middle finger like that. You see here? I pinch it. And if you do the setup like that, even with big hands, it will work because there is the bend is more tanned. So you can do it even in a very big hand. You can also do it in a cell phone. So if it don't work with the thumb, it should, because it works, but if you have problems to do it with the thumb, it's gonna break, I guess. Just put it here between the index and middle finger. It will work with bigger hand like that, because as you can see, the energy and the tend of the bend is bigger. Look, it can work all the time with hand like that. And you finish clean by showing your hand both sides. And this trick is very nice. It's called quantum paradox because as is the case in the quantum paradox, the bend seems to be in two places in the same time, in your hand, in spectator's hand, in the same time. So it's kind of quantum paradox. So you can tell any stories you want with it. One of the stories I love to tell is also this one when I do the trick. When I do the trick to someone, I mime to catch the bend, and I say that this bend is never catchable. So I mime to catch it, and when I try to catch it, it jumps on spectator's hands. And when I try to catch it on spectator's hand, it comes back on my hand. And it's very funny for people like, oh, I can't catch this bend because it won't be catched by me. And at the end of the trick, when it pops back on my hand, I just give it spectator and say, okay, maybe it's better if you have this bend because I think you don't like me, whatever you want, okay? So you can do the pattern you want, but it's very cool. So last advice is for the impromptuness of the trick. You begin like that, first phase. You talk, and you say, oh, I'm gonna show a trick with a bend, so can I have your hand? And when you go forward, as is the case for the rubber hand illusion, when you move forward, you just mime to put back the bend on your wrist. Say, oh, I'm gonna place the bend around my wrist. So it just very natural because it looked like you were like that, and you just, it looks like you just put it back like that, okay? Like, if you always play with your band, it's not very suspicious if you say, can I have your hand? Yeah, please. You see, it's very natural. So you are like that and say, oh, can I have your hand? Oh no, I'm gonna do it with mine. Oops, sorry. So can I have your hand? And naturally and very quickly, you do the setup. So I love to do the setup like that, but if you prefer with the thumb, you can. So like that. Can I have your hand, please? Oh no, yeah, please. Can you put your hand? No, not inside of it, but just here. So you see what I mean? It's very natural because it's in the move. All you have to cover is half of a second when you do this. You see? It's very natural. So all you have to do is just say, oh, I have one band, so I'm gonna show a trick. Oh, please, can I have your hand, please? And it's done. It's very quick. So when you will learn it, it's gonna be slow at the first time. For example, if I try it with my left hand, I know that it's absolutely terrible to learn it because you're gonna be slow, you're gonna turn your hand, it's not great. So yeah, first it's gonna be hard, but the more you will train and the more you will be able to do it very quickly. And as you can see, last advice, when I do my setup, I never turn this hand like that. So when you do this, never do this like that because you're gonna flash your setup. So keep your hand like that. It's this hand that moves, not the other hand. Okay? The mouse, like that, and you're ready to go. Boom and boom. That's it. So here is the explanation of the personality trait. So for this trick, as it's the case for the quantum paradox and the rubber hand illusion, you will need to have different bands of the same color as the one you use around your wrist. So here I'm gonna use a pink band and a yellow band. So I'm gonna put pink bands and yellow bands around my wrist. So when the band will pop from here to here, you're gonna see why. It will not be noticed because it's just one color among other same colors that jumps from here to here, so it's less noticeable compared to the same setup with nothing around the wrist. So for the explanation, I will put them off because it's going to be more easy to understand. So there is two phases in this setup. The first phase is a trick, this one, that you have already seen, I guess, in Hansen Chin Touch project. So he just agreed for me to teach it, so thank you very much, Hansen, for this. It's just a part of the setup, so I'm gonna teach you in few seconds because it's not my project, basically it's Touch project. But so first you will have in this setup two setups as one. So both of the bands are set up differently. For the first band, you have to set up it as the Touch of Hansen Chin setup. So here is the setup very quickly. You are like that with a band around your wrist. You stretch it like that, okay? You pinch it here between your thumb and index. Okay, so you are like that, you pinch it here, and then you put the loop not like that because it will never work, but like that around the thumb, okay? And the other finger. So pinch everything and put everything like that, okay? So be sure that you don't twist it in a weird way. You have really like that, okay? And you put this part of the loop around everything like that. So when you release the band on someone's hand, the band will pop from here to your hand. That's the first part of the setup. So you set up one band like that. Okay, I can do it, sorry. You set up one band like that very quickly. So you say, okay, I'm gonna show a trick with a pink band. And then, for the second band, you set up the band, you know how? Like that. And I think you know this setup because it's the rubber hand illusion setup. So, what you have to do for the trick, you set up the first band as the touch of hands and chin setup. That's it. So this band is squeezed on the bottom part of your thumb here, okay? Not here because it will be hard to have the second setup here. So you squeeze it in the bottom part of your thumb here. And then when you take the second band, you prepare the rubber hand illusion setup like that. So you make a break and you say, oh, I'm gonna need your hand. And now, with the rest of your thumb, you squeeze this part of the yellow band as it's the case in the rubber hand illusion. So in fact, it is the rubber hand illusion setup that you made with the rest of your thumb here that you have to squeeze this yellow part here and to prepare the band. Then you put the yellow band on their hand or on your own hand. You can even slide like that or with the famous pivot point, you know. Wow, it's very nice, okay. And when you release, when you put both of the band here, put a big pressure between their hand and yours. When you release your thumb, hold your thumb, here is what happened. In slow motion, this band gonna penetrate their hand, so it's gonna pop back on your hand. And this band gonna penetrate in the other side. So if you do both setups in the same time, what happened is that the two bands will just invert like that. So it depersonality trait because it looks like if both bands didn't know who they are. So yeah, they have to change their mind on who they are. Maybe I'm pink, maybe I'm yellow. Okay, it's my pattern, maybe it's not great, but you can build your own pattern on it. So to do it impromptu, just play with your misdirection. You say, oh, I'm gonna show you a trick with a pink band and maybe a yellow band. Make a break. No worries, no rush, and now you just have to do the rest of the rubber hand illusions twist here, okay? So no pressure, you prepare this one quickly, and you say, oh, I'm gonna show you a trick with two bands. No pressure, no rush. Then, can I have your hand? And when you ask their hand, you prepare the rubber hand illusion one. They put their hand in the rubber hand illusion one. You can even guide their hand to do this move, or their cell phone if you want, and then put a big pressure on both hands like that, and raise your thumb very quickly, boom, and the inversion happens. And you finish very clean because they have one band on their hand, like, oh, keep it as a souvenir, and your hand has the other band, and I keep it as a souvenir, and there is no more connection. And because there are no more connection at the end of the trick, people will just remind the trick as if there were never, if there were never any connection between two hands. Imagine if you finish clean like that, people will think that during all the trick there were no connection between the hands, while in fact there is a very big connection from behind. It looked like that, okay, between the hands. And I love this trick. It's very, very cool. So you can do it with your own hand or with spectator hand. You guide them to do this, or with a cell phone, whatever you want. But be sure that there is big pressure here. And as it's the case for the rubber hand illusion, remember something important. If they have their hand over the bands here, it will never work. Look what happened. Oopsie. Okay, it's very bad. So be sure that their hands are a little bit more here. Never put their fingers over this band here. And when you have other bands around your wrist, when you do your setup, be sure that both bands here are very aligned with the other colored band that are around your wrist. And I think that's it for this trick. So here is the explanation of sinusoidal phase trick. So as is the case for the other trick, beforehand put some bands of the same color as the one you will use for the trick around your wrist. I will not use them for the explanation once more. So this effect is mostly based on a trick that has been created by Dragonfly that is named Rubber Deception. It's a pool of different tricks. So I invite you to look at this Rubber Deception of Dragonfly because it's a pool of great tricks, and one of them is very similar to this setup. All I've done for this setup is that I, in some extent, doubled the setup to push it a little bit forward to double the effect. So you will see. So for this trick, all you need is one band. You begin like that with the band between your thumb and these two guys, middle finger and index finger. That's it. Then, what you have to do is just to take the band like that, okay? And you're gonna place it in this position. So as you can see, one of the threads is on my wrist, one of the threads is on my fourth finger and pinky here, okay? So I'm here, I take the band like that, stretch it, I just keep my index finger, okay? As you can see, my index finger just twists a little bit, you see? It just stays on my index finger, but I just rotate my index finger to have the good position. So you are here, okay? And just, if you place the band here, just pinch it on your thumb. When you release the thumb, the band will jump, okay? That's the first part of it. For sinusoidal phase, you will have to double this setup. How you do it is like that. So you take the band, you stretch it a lot, the more you can. Don't break it on your eyes, but the more you can. And you begin like that. So you are here, so just index here. So you are in this position. Don't squeeze both threads, as is the case in the setup I just showed before. Just pinch the bottom thread here. So not both of them, just this bottom guy here, okay? So I'm here, here. As you can see, I put all my fingers here to extend, to be sure that I just squeeze one thread and not both of them. But even like that it works, okay? So we are here. You just pinch this thread here. And then what you have to do is to invert your hand like that. So I'm in this position. Okay, I just squeeze this part here, and look at my left hand. I'm gonna put my fingers like that. So from here, so from here, I'm gonna invert my hand to be like that. So it's a little bit tricky to explain. What I do to do it is just I put my thumb, my index, and I put the other fingers here, okay? So from here, you can even do it with only your thumb and invert. So you have to finish in this position, okay? So once more, you are here, like that, okay? Put your thumb and be sure that your hand is now in this position. Now that you're in this position, all you have to do is this. You twist your hand, okay? Like that. And you're gonna try to align this thread here with this one, and this thread here stay here, okay? So like that, as it's the case for the quantum paradox in some extent. So you are here, here, okay, here, and here I just keep my index finger, and with the rest of my thumb I pinch this little thread here. So when I release the first part of my thumb, it jumps. When I release the second part of my thumb, it jumps back. So once more, here, stretch it a lot, all over, just the index like that. Pinch the bottom thread. Be sure that you invert your hand for the second part. Okay, so here, you are like that. Align this part here and this part come here. Okay. Keep only the index finger. Pinch the part here to squeeze it over the thumb, as it was the case for the quantum paradox. Try to align it better than this. And even if someone catches your hand here, when you release the first part of the thumb, the first buckle, boom, it jumps. When you release the second part of the thumb, it pops back. So basically it works like that. And what is very great with the setup is that when you do it with someone's hand here, for any reason, it don't block the setup. It works also. So I failed it a little bit, so we are here. Oh, sorry. So as you can see, don't put your thumb like that. I did the mistake. Be sure that when you release the first part of the band here, your thumb is not too much like that, but a little bit more like that, okay, just a little bump like that. So we are here, as you can see, like that, boom, and I release the second part, and it works. And a last trick that you can do with someone's hand here, or with no hand here, it's the same, is this. When you take this part here, okay, you just take this part here and you make a little twist, you can do this kind of stuff. So when you release the first part of the thumb, it gives the impression that it jumps from one hand to the other. It's very impressive. So to do this, it's the same setup. The only difference is that you just pinch this part here, you twist it a little bit, and you release the first part and the second part. And it works even if you have someone's hand here. So that's very perfect. And last advice for impromptuness of the trick is to break it in two phases. So here's what I mean. You begin like that, and you say, oh, I'm gonna show you a trick with a band. And as you can see here, I prepare the first phase, okay? But I just close my finger like that, and it looks like I have a full band here. So it's like, oh, I'm gonna show a trick with one band. You see? And then you put your hand like that, and you say, can I have your fingers? And when you say it, you go forward, and in the same time, you just push back the band like that. So it's very natural because it looks like, oh, I have one band. Can I have your hand, please? Yeah, I put it back here. So it just looks like you go from here. It looks like you go from here to here, in fact. Okay? Because you are here, it's not very suspicious that you move your band to put it back here. You see what I mean? So you are here, you say, oh, can I have your hand, please? Yeah, I put back the band here. And you just take it to be sure that they can place their finger here, and boom, you can do the trick. So that's it. So I love to have a break when I'm here, like, can I have a bend? Half of the setup is done. Can you have your hand? Sorry, not your bend. Can you have your hand? Yeah. Half of the setup is done, and a little misdirection is needed. When you go forward, you say, actually, I just need 2 fingers. And that's it. It's very perfect, okay? So it's gonna be hard at the first time to remember that you have to move your hand like that, but it's not too hard, okay? It's just like that. And then, remember, just the index finger, go around, pinch it, and put this little guy here. And train yourself to release only the first part of the bend first, and the second part of the bend for the second time. And that's it. So here is the explanation of the Lazarus effect. So same for the trick, you need bands around your wrist that are the same color as the one you will use. I will not do it for the tutorial here. So a part of this trick is quite visually similar to a trick that I use in my Psycho Band project. So I invite you to look at Psycho Bands, an effect that is called boomerang, in fact, but the initial name was boomerang. But it's a different setup, different idea behind it, but I invite you to look at Psycho Band if you want. So for this trick, the setup is exactly the same as the one you use in the sinusoidal phase trick. The only difference is that you will put the band in this finger and not here, okay? So look carefully, the setup is the same. Boom, okay, and boom. I mean, I will not teach it twice because it's the same setup. And as you can see, when I release the first part of the thumb, it will pop here, and then it will go back here, okay? So now, how can I use this to make the band disappear and reappear? Here is the subtlety of it, and I very love it because it's very simple. So you prepare the setup. As it's the case for sinusoidal phase, you do it in 2 phases. You begin like, oh guys, I'm gonna show you a trick with the band. Can I have your hand please? And when you are in this position, you don't stay here. You just take this part here, okay? And you squeeze all your fingers inside of the loop, even the pinky one, like that. So it looks like you just have one band that is over all the fingers, even if it's not the case for the pinky one, okay? And when you're in this position, if someone puts his or her hand inside of the loop, when you open your fingers, just hide the fact that the pinky is not on the loop, inside of the loop, so put their hand like that, even like that if you want, I mean it works. but like that. So just cover your pinky, release the first part of the thumb, and look what happened. This band, I do it slowly to show you. This band is gonna slide here, and when you release the second part of the thumb, the band will pop back. I try to do it slowly to show you, like that, around your wrist. So when you do it in real speed, here is what happened. Oh, can you have your hand, please? Yeah. And don't finish like that because it's weird. Finish by letting the band on their own hand, so as a souvenir, and it's perfect. So you do this. You say, oh, can you have your hand, please? Yeah, can you put it inside of it? So you see it's very quick. And they put their hand, you open your fingers, don't flash the fact that the pinky is not inside of the loop. So put your hand a little bit more like that. Release the first part of the thumb. So the band is here, but it's hidden behind their hand. So I use their own hand or my own hand as a cover of this band. That's the subtlety that is very nice. And to make appear the second one, an advice is to put your thumb inside like that. It's gonna pop even quicker, in a quicker way, faster, okay? And then just slide your hand. You're like that, okay? It's very easy. You just slide your hand. You can even just make a little hug of fingers if you want. I mean, as you prefer. And just slide your hand like that. Say, oh, I just keep it as a souvenir. Don't very flash the back of your hand because you're gonna have these horrible mark signs of the band. So they will think that you love bondage, even if it's not the case. But when you're a rubber band magician, I think in some extent you should love hand bandage, but it's another story. So you're like that, and you say, oh fuck, I think it broke. No, just sweaty. So you say, oh, I'm gonna show a trick with one band. Oh please, can I have your hand, please? Yeah, put it inside of the loop. So it's very tense, but they can. Boom, disappear, and reappear, and clean. And what is very nice with this trick is that when you are here, it's really one band. It's not a double thread or whatever. And all the trick only use one band. The same band, it could be signed, but it's a band, so it can't be signed. But I mean, in some extent, it could be signed. It's very same band that I use for the disappearance and the appearance of the trick. If you are a crazy guy, you can try this. You stretch it a lot. You do one block, second block here, and you come back here, and it looks like 1, 2, and 3. I never succeed this one. I don't know how I've done it, but if you want to try it, you can even triple the setup. It's gonna work. But I don't do it in real life. It's good for social medias if you want, but yeah, that's it. So here is the explanation of the cave allegory color change. Wow. And so, as is the case for the other trick, the band you use, here a pink one and a yellow one, have to be the same color as other bands that you put on your wrist. So here, pink and yellow one. So for the explanation, I will not place them here. And as it was the case for the depersonality trait trick, I will use two setups in the same setup. So one band is set up in a way, and the other one is set up in another way. So first we're gonna see the setup of the pink one. Because if you think about it, a color change is just a band that disappears and a band that appears. So I have one setup for the band that will disappear, and one setup for the band that will appear. So here is the setup of the band that disappears. First, for this band that will disappear, you have to double it. So when I say double it, it is around your wrist here. You just take the band, you twist it, okay? Just twist it. As it was the case, you remember, for the rubber hand illusion. But instead of putting it here, you put it here like that, okay? So it's the same as the rubber hand illusion stuff, but it's just like that. So in fact it's just a band that is doubled. You see what I mean? Like doubled. It's very tight. And because it's doubled, when you do the on-sun-chin setup with one of the two threads here, so you know the touch setup of on-sun-chin, the one I just taught you just before, so like that and like that, you remember? The band will not pop everywhere, it will just pop back here for any reason. Just don't ask me why, I don't know, it's just magic, like, you see? So, first you double the band, then with only one thread you do the on-sun-chin setup of touch, boom, and boom. When you release it, you pop back on your wrist. So if you have a watch, it's better because it's gonna disappear and be blocked by your watch. You see, if you have no object, it's gonna appear here. Oh, not in the case, but sometimes it just pop back here. So if you have long sleeves, watch, or if you snap like that, you will not see the band here popping back. So you see, if I just do this, for example, it's better because you can see and you just avoid the band to jump back here or whatever, okay? But basically it never pops very far away, and because the attention is here, they will be blind to this spot here, basically. So if you film it on social media, use long sleeves, watch, or this kind of stuff. So that's the setup for this one. So you begin with a band like that, okay? I mean, don't do this and then this. Begin with a band that is doubled around your wrist, and just prepare it by playing with it, okay? Just prepare it now like that. You have one band here. For the second band that appear, here is the setup. You take a band from your wrist, you put it here, okay? And this setup is similar to the non-pop of my Psycho Band project, but a little bit different in some extent. So if you're interested in Psycho Bands and non-pop, you can watch this project on YouTube if you want, or whatever. It's a Sky Member present project with me. So here like that, here. And what you have to do is just to take one thread here. You see, it's very easy. You take the thread here, you just align it. You see, both are aligned. And you go all over the wrist and you pinch it with your thumb. Okay? So it looks like there is a penetration of the pinky if you look. It's very nice, but yeah, it's not the point of it. So you are here, bonus effect, penetration of the pinky. So you are here, okay? Take the thread, go align it, and go here and just pinch it with your thumb. So you keep the pressure here, and when you put the band down here, okay? You are in this position. When you put all the band down here, not this part, and if you raise your thumb, look what happened. The band just pop. See? It's magic, right? So when you prepare both setup in the same time, so you have the first one here, and you have the second one here, okay? Look what happened, you're in this position. If I release all my thumb, this one pop back here and this one appear here. It's a color change. So, now, how to cover this horrible pinky? I hate this guy. You can do it just like that. Here is my pattern for the trick. You begin like that and say, okay, so here I'm gonna use a pink band, and when you put the yellow one here, so first setup is prepared, you put the yellow one here, and when you talk, you naturally do this. It just looks like you play with your band, you see? Look, it's very visually similar. So you are like that. So from this position, it's not very unnatural to have this yellow band here. Okay? So I'm like that. First setup. So, sorry, I begin like that, to be honest. Yeah, I'm here. I say, okay, so I'm gonna play with two bands. So here is a pink one, and let's take a yellow one. And you are like that. That's perfect, right? It looks very natural. Then I say, I take the two bands here and I close my fingers on it. So it just hides my pinky here, okay? It's the same position, but I just hide my pinky here. And then I say, you know, the yellow one and the pink one are the same person. I know it's very weird, but they're exactly the same person. For example, which is your favorite one? If they say pink, you are in the good position. If they say yellow, you say, oh, yellow, my favorite one is the pink one. But it don't matter because look, if I take the yellow off, so you put this one off, so the one that is around your pinky. If I put the yellow off and I keep the pink one, can you put your hand inside of the pink one? So I just stretch it like that. Now I open my fingers, not the thumb obviously, and I'm in the good position because their hand just cover the yellow one here. And if I open my thumb, the inversion happened. So I just have to say, it don't matter because as I told you, the pink one is the yellow one. They are the same person. So even if you choose the pink one, it can turn to the yellow one. And if they choose the pink one, it's perfect because I say, oh, your favorite one is the pink one. Great. But you know, I prefer the yellow one. So it don't matter because they are the same person at the end of the day. Okay? So just to finish once more. So this one is already doubled. This one is around your wrist. You do the on-tension setup, natural. You take the other one. You prepare the stuff as if you just play with your band. You cover your pinky with your index if you can. You just take everything, close your fingers on it. Put the one that is around your pinky around your wrist with the pattern you want. You can use mine or another one. Just stretch it. They have their hand here. Open your 4 fingers here to cover this pinky part here. And just open your thumb to release the 2 lock. And be sure that your pinky is not here, but a bit more here. And then keep it as a souvenir. Like that, okay? You keep yours as a souvenir and you give the other one as a souvenir too, sorry. And you are clean. So you can do it in your own hand, in spectator's hands, or in spectator's cell phone. But a good way to do it, as I said, is maybe just to slap your wrist to avoid this bend here to jump back here. You see? I'm here, blah blah blah, okay, you prefer quantum, not quantum paradox, but you know, this kind of paradox. And you are here, you put the cell phone here if you want, like that, blah blah blah, and look, I'm gonna slap my, and as you can see, I just blocked the pink one here to go here, and you are clean. So that's it for this trick. the explanation of molecular fusion. So as is the case for the other tricks, you need around your wrist first bands of the same color as the one you will use. So here is the explanation of this trick. First, the trick begins as the setup of the rubber hand illusion. So you remember, you take this, twist, and put it here. That's the only similarity between the two effects. Then all you have to do is to take your thumb and index finger from this angle here, so not from here but from behind here, okay? And you grab the band here, okay? You grab it and you stretch your fingers, okay? You can even put your thumb like that, sorry, yeah, it's better. So instead of being like that, you are like that, okay? So you take your index and thumb, boom, stretch it, and here you can see there is a kind of X, and there is a central point of the X here. So what you will have to do is to take the band here, to go over your hand like that, off your hand, okay? And to align the band with the X, you see? Try to align the band, I don't know if you can see it, but with the X. Because the more you will be aligned with the X, and the more the band will look like natural. So you are here, okay? Take the band like that, try to align it with the X, like that, even like that, okay? So I just put my fingers in this position, align with the X, and then try to put your hand inside of the loop, like that. So you are in this position. And from this position, just touch your thumb with the index finger and place them in this position. So you are here. And from this position, it's very weird, but if you just let go, so keep the pressure, but just let go slowly the band that is on your index finger, okay? So you do 1, 2, then you let it slide, just this one, and look what happened. This, it's magic. So you are here, this, try to align it with the central point of the X, put all your hand inside of it, squeeze your fingers like that. You can do from this position, you see, 1, 2, 3, and at the third time, just release the index part and release it quickly. So when you release it quickly, it looks like that. You say, oh look, 1, 2, and you see? It's very nice. Second tips, when you are here, you can try to roll them together. Oops, sorry. You can try to roll them together to make it look like one band. You see? Like one band, and at the end, it's really one band. So it's another advice, you can do it as you want. You can also do it in spectator's hand. So if the spectator puts their hand here, you're gonna be linked to your spectator like that. It's very sexy, no? Isn't it? And the last stuff is, how can you do this trick when the spectator keeps the band? Here is my advice for it. You can use a ring or not, but you will have to cover this. So you begin the trick in this position. So you can do the setup like that. In fact, it's just this, okay? You are here and ready to go. So you can hide it with a ring if you want. If you have no ring, you will have to hide this part with your fat here, if you have fat. If you are not fat, you will have to do all the setup in this position. That is quite hard. So if you are a beginner, just use a ring. I will do the expert version with no ring, but the principle is the same. So you begin like that, okay? You say, oh, I'm gonna show you a trick. Here you prepare the rubber hand illusion setup. It's the same. The only difference is that you have this stuff here. And now you do exactly the same setup. You see, X dot, boom. As you can see, I do it with my hand closed, okay? So you are here, prepare this, boom. I do it with my hand closed, just to cover this. But if you have a ring, you don't have to close your finger. So you are in this position, just try to align everything, okay? And you ask spectator to put their hand inside of it. So I will use my cell phone as a spectator hand, okay? And I say, oh, can you keep these two bands? So put your index finger in my index loop and put your thumb in the thumb loop. So now it's the spectator hand. So here it's mine, but I don't have four hands. So imagine that this and here it's the spectator hand. And when they release both threads at the same time, when they open their finger, look what happened. It just pops because there is a lock here, but they ignore it. And now that you're in this position, you just have to release everything. You let it go like that to have it in their own hand. So it's very cool because it's the spectator that keep it, and when they release it, the magic happened in their hand. That's it. Okay.
That's it. I know that it's a lot of stuff you have to learn. If you've just watched this project in one shot, you can have your brain almost exploding like, oh my god, there is so many stuff to do. There is not on my hands. It's like Spider-Man. If you think differently, we see that a lot of these effects are very similar in the principle, in the mechanic behind the trick. So take time, slowly but surely, try to respect the different steps I put on the project, not the DVD, sorry, project. If I just arrange the tricks in this way, like that, like rubber hand illusion, after it, the quantum paradox, etc. It's because I'm pretty sure that it's the best way to learn everything. So try to respect this order. Don't go to step 5 if you haven't done the other ones before. Maybe the last one if you want, the 7th. But yeah, I think it's better for training. Once again, thanks you so much for supporting my art, my way of life, and it's something that is very important for me. Like, it's weird to say that rubber band magic has changed my life, my way of seeing magic, and I hope maybe one of you, maybe a lot of you, will be inspired by this work, and we want to learn magic of rubber band and also to create new rubber band routines. And I hope it can be an open door to make the rubber band magic a little bit, to push it a bit more forward. And as you can see, we are in the studio, as I already said it, of my best friend Raphaël Klein. I say it in French. Raphaël Klein, is it well said? Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Raphaël Klein.
Sometimes Klein, sometimes Klein.
He's just behind the camera. I want to thank this guy for his work, because this dude is the guy who just did all my magic. So he didn't create my tricks, but we learned magic together. We learned card magic first, and when I've created all my rubber band tricks, I always sent in my videos at crazy hours, like 4 AM, and he always watched it and gave me good advices. And he's the man behind the camera. He's my eyes on this project, the tutorial, and this crazy trailer that I love so much. He's the eyes behind it, and the heart behind it, the spirit, the soul. It's a love story. I mean, it's my girlfriend will not be jealous of me, because I give her a big thanks, because during night sometimes I just trained myself with rubber band and created new routines, and she tried to sleep and she heard like and she say, are you training yourself to do rubber band magic? It's like 3 AM. I say, yeah, I have to send a video for raffle. So I thanks my girlfriend and Rafael for the project, but specifically Rafael because it took so many hours to do the video making of the tutorial, of the trailer specifically. We took a lot of time. We just filmed it in my birth city of birth, where I born, yeah. Yeah, I mean, all this project is very important for us because we always said when we were younger, one day we will do a magic project together. And for us it was a dream. Like when you're a kid, you think that it's impossible to produce magic like that. You think that people who produce magic are these guys that are in another universe, and no, it's us. We just produce magic, and it can be you. You just have to take your bands, cards, coins, and just try to imagine, to think out of the box, outside of the box, just to reimagine magic, and you will be the future of magic. And that's what is great with magic, is that everyone can become the new creator and can create something that is out of reality, that is magic. So that's why we love magic, Rafael and myself, and we always push ourselves a little bit more forward to continue to create stuff. So hopefully this project will inspire you. If you have any questions, any suggestions, any take on my effects, or if you are proud to perform an effect of rubber band that you want to share with me, mine or other effects of you yourself, do not hesitate to send your videos or your Instagram videos if you want, because I'm an Instagram person. On my Instagram, that is Dr. Thomas. Not at all, it's Dr. Cyril Thomas, but it will be written somewhere here. We're gonna try to do our best here for my Instagram and Rafael Instagram if you want, Rafael. So we're gonna have our Instagram here, so do not hesitate to follow us and to share your magic with us, and we'll do the same obviously. And I'm happy to answer every question. If you struggle to do an effect, do not hesitate to send me a private message, and I will be more than happy to help you to progress in this effect. Sometimes we are just locked in a single stuff that we don't understand, and when we just drop this lock, when we just open this little lock, the effect is very simple. So do not hesitate to do it. It can take me like 10 seconds to explain you little stuff, and it can maybe give you hours of locking doors, so do not hesitate to do it. So thanks a lot. We're gonna put a lot of credits on all the magicians: Jorin Fleisch, Dan Harlan, Bacon Fire, Anson Shin, obviously, and a lot of rubber band magicians that have been inspiration for me. And a lot of my effects are takes on this inspirative effects that I've changed, that I've combined. So thanks a lot for this magician that I respect a lot, and are a big part of my own creations, and I think they know it. So, and I hope they we'll have more projects in the future. Honestly, we have some projects that will come. I don't say more. You can follow us on social media maybe to have a guess or a clue on this effect. But I prepare a lot of other visual magic for the future. Maybe next year, like maybe it's gonna take 2 years or whatever. You have time to learn these ones, and you will need this time, I guess. So thanks a lot for everything, and do not hesitate to contact me. I'm a human, and I love to interact with people, and yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot. Bye.